order.
I'll say that again. I just started recording.
I'm calling the Board of Education Personnel Committee meeting to order 5:32. Comments from the public? Not yet?
Can we explain that? I mean, you talked about that a little bit on the phone yesterday, about how they can't interact down the line with questions if we engage them.
If we were to ask you something, you can respond later.
So give us a wink wink if you have something in mind, and I'll say, hey, how are you? And then, you know. Exactly. Mr. King. Yes. You got it.
Yes or no, texting. Oh, no, no texting.
Okay.
Hey, Sam. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. Good to see you. Good. Hello, Christine.
I'll give this to Christine, please. Sam, I don't have a copy for you. I'll make you one tonight. Anyone's got a copy.
How are you?
All right, we have no old business. Under new business, we'll start with our certificated staff. We had a vacancy as a speech for our speech pathologist position at Oak Forest, and so that position was posted. And we are recommending Colleen Curran, who has 12 years of experience as a speech pathologist. Here's the recommendation. As always, if there's something that you have questions about, let me know, or if I'm going too fast, let me know.
You know, I do have a question on that one, and just because I just don't know. And I know what we do with the beginning teachers, or even teachers that are transferred into our district with a salary, step one, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so explain to me, obviously she's not a teacher, right?
Correct.
Speech language pathologist. So where are we at with that in terms of?
Well, with this,
start?
yeah, with this particular one, it was a high need, low applicants, not very many.
Okay.
Even if this position were to be posted in the summertime, our speech pathology applicants would probably be minimal at best. We posted it in December,
Okay.
and so middle of the year. We were lucky enough to find this lady who has 12 years of experience, but in order to get her, we had to offer her some lanes and steps. She will ultimately be released because she was hired post-November, but that doesn't necessarily mean we won't also hire her back for next year.
So Dan, a question off that, if we had low turnout for, you know, let's just say a math teacher, okay? Is this standard practice? Because I haven't seen it in the 3 years I've been here. Would we offer that math teacher more money to get them to come aboard?
It would be a conversation we would have with the board. You know, we've had a couple.
Because I don't ever remember having one
Yeah.
with like this.
Right. And in that situation, we would have a conversation with the board and say, is this something?
Maybe not, well, like, we've had someone like this, what's it, a psychologist or social worker or somebody. They have services that we're legally bound to give them, so we can't like hold off on not having somebody.
Oh, I
'Cause we would violate
understand
them.
that, and just, you know, that just was a red flag to me.
Yep.
I mean, where are we at with, for this person if we had regular turnout? I mean, where would they be?
Salary-wise?
Salary-wise, what would they have been offered?
Well, they would have been offered the same. I mean, our starting salary is, you know, step 0,
Yeah.
and it would be a master's degree because this position requires a master's degree.
Okay,
Now, the
which-
majority of these folks come in with additional hours, so we would always give them their hours on the scale, just not necessarily their years of experience. So I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know exactly what that going rate
Okay.
is,
Yeah, and I don't want
but it's certainly less than 71,000.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for
Sure.
clearing that.
No problem. All right, so here's her resume, where she's been. Christine, you're gonna break your neck.
I know, that's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna scoot over here. I won't wait.
Again, you guys have seen this, so if you got any questions, let me know. I'll quickly flip through this. Okay. And then our next person is a full-time sub position at Tinley Park High School. And this young man actually did his student teaching at Tinley Park. Remember, this is one of those positions that's an ancillary position. It's a $100 a day position. Affords the opportunity for these individuals to sub for pretty much any certified area. Okay. This young man's name's John Jensen. Some of the people in here might know him.
Does he do any extracurricular stuff? Coaching? You know?
I don't know if he was an athlete. I know he's been helping out, you know, with Mr. Moggan, working games, things like that, but I don't know if he's been.
He's a good kid. He's a real good kid.
There's a recommendation from Ms. Nolan, and here's his resume.
I'm liking that Tiger's Pizza.
Wait. What school did he go to?
Easter?
Go ahead.
There's some relevance there that I don't know about.
We've been over that before.
Oh, okay. Background special ed. All right, and then we get into some medical leaves, FMLA leaves, and career exploration leaves. Our first one here is for Jen Ambrose. She's a counselor at Oak Forest High School. Here's her doctor's note. We have an FMLA leave request from Tom Vaughn. Information from his mother-in-law's doctor. Okay. And then we have a request for a career exploration leave for Mike Cicerelli. Being recommended. All right. And we have a couple of retirement requests. Lisa Walsh, who is the IMC teacher at Hillcrest. And Stacy Lane, who is a PE teacher at Hillcrest. Both of those are being recommended for 2020. Okay, and then lastly, for certified staff, we have a couple of resignations. You've seen this one from our last meeting, from Dwayne Menken.
Yeah, I just want to say to the committee that, you know, obviously Dwayne has other things in the future, and it doesn't include 228, but, you know, I'm going to approve it with a heavy heart, you know, certainly, because of the outcry and, you know, the love of this guy for the district. I just keep hearing something every day about him, and it's really upsetting that he is going.
And then we also have a resignation from one of our English doctors at Hillcrest High School, Gina DiGuilio. Okay, so that's our certified recommendations. We're asking for those to be sent to the full board for approval. And then we have our non-certified, our educational support personnel. The first one here is a maternity leave request. This young lady is our student services secretary at Hillcrest High School. Here's her doctor's information. The medical leave request for Anise Bracy from Hillcrest High School. Anise is the registrar. Here's her doctor's information.
Boy, 3 right there from Hillcrest, huh?
Yep. And then we have a retirement from Hillcrest. Oh, our maintenance man, don't ask me to pronounce. I only know him as Sam.
Yeah, he was there when I was at Hillcrest.
Good dude.
Yeah, he is. He is a good guy.
Been working here since 1981.
Yeah.
And then we also have a resignation from one of our weekend custodians at Hillcrest High School. Or excuse me, at Oak Forest High School. And that concludes our education support staff.
Okay, so regarding this questionnaire that we decided to put out, I've come up with some questions. We can talk about them, add them.
Well, before you do that, can we open it for discussion right now before we do your questions to everybody?
Discussion as far as what?
I think, and this is just my own opinion, I think before we get into questions, I think that we should agree on forming the committee, you know, we'll put the cart before the horse.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, regarding the committee, there's 2 ways to do the committee.
Okay.
To make it a board committee or a superintendent's committee. If it's a board committee, like this one,
Mm-hmm.
anything that comes out of the committee first has to be approved by the board before any action is taken on it.
Okay.
Can we take a step back? I'm just trying to catch up here. A committee for what? Is this like a...
Choose like a questionnaire to send to the staff to deal with all the stuff we're hearing, dissatisfaction.
So is it going
things
to
that
be a
need
committee
improvement.
of teachers, or is it another committee of board members?
That's what we have
That's
to
what
talk
we're trying to
about.
decide? Okay.
So if it's board members and a board committee, then before any action that committee, I don't know, I'll throw something stupid out there. Say we decide on Fridays you can't wear red.
Mhm.
That would have to wait till the next board meeting to be voted on before that could be implemented.
Right.
If it's a superintendent's committee, the committee can decide amongst themselves
Sure.
and implement or talk about whatever changes they would like to have.
And so this is the scope of this committee is to focus on teacher concerns
And work through the problems, whatever issues they think need to be worked on.
Without their name going on it. Or we can decide that as a committee, if their name goes on it or not.
Now, just because it's a superintendent's committee doesn't mean board members can't go and see what's going on at the meetings, though. I would prefer it not be a board committee because I don't want things to have to wait to go to the board for approval. If the committee says, well, if we do this, that fixes that, it's ridiculous to have to wait a month to do that.
Yeah, but we don't want to alienate anybody.
How do we officially implement any changes then?
The committee is there to see that. Like, how many committees, you guys have other committees like the, well, we use a bad example of the evaluation one, but,
All of our committees have administration and
Right.
JFA on it.
but okay, what's the,
So for example,
The-
workload committee is
Yeah.
for special education needs, and you're gonna be hopefully voting on something if it passes through the House on Monday about the implementation of the AIT class that's been going on this year as a one-year pilot program. And it will still have to go through the board for approval, just like it goes through the JFA House of Representatives as well for approval.
but like,
To make full changes across the district.
what's the evaluation committee, the what was that,
Yes,
Danielson
District
Evaluation Committee? They're working through their own issues on their own, and we don't vote on their
Some
stuff.
of it because it's by law that things had to be implemented with or without you. And the other things are still going through, it's a joint effort with JFA and administration. And I believe Dr. Williams also then lets you know what's been going on with that.
So can I ask because I'm not sure that I know of all the concerns or the outcries. I haven't had any teachers come to me directly with anything. So, but I'm trying to think if I were a teacher, what would be most effective to have a committee of the teachers or have a committee of the board? Because I'm just not sure.
Teachers. I mean, the way I see it is there's a group of teachers, union members, whatever, I don't even know how many, whatever, and of course they're gonna have to meet with administration to work out whatever issues that they have.
Not off of the survey, though. So if we're gonna ask that no names put on, so we have more participation from the
Right.
union, okay? And people will tend to open up if their name isn't on there.
Right.
Okay? So I didn't understand what you just said there. Can you repeat that and kind of explain yourself?
Okay, so let's say these people here are the committee.
Mm-hmm. With board participation on a committee.
And we have, here's the survey. So here's one question. Do you trust what the district tells you? So we're going to have hopefully 300 responses.
Yeah. Okay.
So then the committee says, overall, 80% of the teachers say they don't trust what the district tells you. What is a way to improve that?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Here's what I'm unhappy about, and here's my opinion on how it can change.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. You have to give a change. You just can't give the, excuse me for lack of a better word, the bitch.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm good
So
with
then
that.
they work that through with administration.
Again,
on how to-
here's where I'd like to see it start. Form the committee. Who's going to make up the committee? Okay, is it going to be personnel, committee people, with a representation for the union? I would prefer not to have administration involved until later down the road. As far as we present them with something, here you go. Here's your role. Fix it. You see what I'm saying?
Well, some things, we can't just say fix things. There's going to have to be some discussion.
That could
some
be,
things that
I know,
fix-
that's
But yeah, I understand
rough
what you're
language
saying.
right now.
Further down the road,
Yeah, we
right.
can decide on that, but what I'm concerned, and I don't want to say concerned, but what I would like to see is, I want to have good membership participation, okay? And if they being the union, if they have somebody on this committee, they're going to feel better about filling that out, okay?
Yeah.
So definitely that has to happen, I think, in my opinion, okay?
So you're
right
saying you
now-
want to wait for the questionnaire until a committee is seated?
Yeah, so
Right.
everybody could have participation in developing it, the union,
That's
us
fine. I
as
would
a
rather
board.
not. I would rather not wait.
Well, I think you should form the committee, then the committee should get together to formulate the questions. Then they get the survey out, put a timeline on it, get it back, get the results back, have the committee review that, and then decide what is our next action step.
We could, or we have a pretty fair representation here. We could see what their opinion is of the
Absolutely,
questions.
yeah, sure.
And then we don't have to wait.
Okay. We don't want to put you guys on the spot, but as Mrs. Stern said, we'd like your, participation since you're here today. Why waste your time? We'd like to hear from you. So I don't know, do you have any ideas of how you would set this up and run this and how you'd like to see it run? Let's say if you're the union president?
Great question. The idea of inviting faculty members and other staff members, because of course there are other staff members as well, into a meeting with the board members directly would probably be a very good idea. When you ask the questions is probably not as important as the discussion that comes from the results of the questions.
Right.
That would be more a question of how long, what is your time frame for wanting to getting to the meat of
Right.
addressing the issues. But putting out an invitation, and that could be as this committee could put out that invitation, and then send out the questions, and this is what we're going to talk about. Who would like to be part of that discussion?
So you're in favor, excuse me, Debbie, you're in favor of definitely having union participation on this committee?
Or at least as an invitation. Yeah, I mean, I guess the question would be what is that committee's intention for change or those sorts of things. Then it
Well,
becomes
this committee is to formulate the questionnaire that we're going to get out to your membership. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that what this is initially?
Which committee?
The committee that we're talking about forming, so we can formulate
No, that
the
is not.
questions.
That is not how I envisioned it.
Okay, all right.
I envisioned the committee to work the issues brought upon by the questionnaire and to also shield those people. So I'm afraid of retribution, so I don't want anybody to know my bitch. I'm going to give it to Kathleen, let Kathleen bring it forward for things maybe not addressed on this.
Are you in favor of having their name on the paper?
No,
Okay, good. Are you in favor of possibly having their department on the paper?
no, not at first.
Not at first.
The school, maybe.
What school?
What school they're
What
at?
school you're
Well,
from.
just to get back to first the meat and bones of this, I think we should have a committee that starts this from beginning to end. A committee that starts, forms the questionnaire, figures out how to get it out, how it's going to be returned, tabulating the results, and then working on what we're going to do with those results. That should be one committee, start to finish.
I disagree just because of the climate in the buildings. I think something has to be done now.
Well, it's
Well,
not to
Debbie,
say
I
this
don't
can't
think it's
happen,
gonna take
you know.
long. Yeah,
It's
we
not
can-
going to take another 6 months to do this. We
No.
can form the committee and set the next meeting for 2 days from now. if
How are you
want.
going to form the committee?
We're gonna talk about it.
You
We're
have
gonna
to-
ask people to be on the committee. We're the ones initiating it, the personnel committee, so we can extend the invitations, I would think. I don't wanna overstep.
You could
my
put out an
bounds.
email and see who wants to
Be on the committee.
on the committee. And go from
See, and
there.
that's yeah.
And maybe the union can do the same thing. Who would be interested? Maybe we'll give the 2 seats to the union or something to be on this committee. And I'm just throwing the number out there. I don't know how many
Yeah.
seats, and the union can pick their own representatives. We're not.
And I would prefer to do everything at the same time. Send the questions out, and also with the invitation of there's going to be a committee to address all these issues. Do you want to be on it?
But the committee has to work together to form the questions.
Right.
Where are the
Yes.
questions coming from?
They have to come from, I would think, Debbie, they'd have to come from everybody in agreement on the committee. Okay? Does everybody agree on the question, is your opinion valued in 228? Does everybody agree that that's going to go?
I've got.
Yes,
You're
it
saying that
does,
without
so-
even looking at what questions I have.
Okay. Well, Debbie,
But-
I'm
but
just
So
Some
I
saying.
people might
have
have
questions
their
that
own
have been fed
questions.
to me by
Yeah.
a lot of people, so I think they are representative of what the district feels. And that's not stopping the committee from
Coming
bringing
up with more
issues.
Yeah, because Christine might have some, Ken might have, there's if it's basically the same, then we can throw it out and say, okay, we're just gonna use this as, you know what I mean? Because it's duplicate, we don't, you know. But,
And this committee is not, the way I envision it, you know, after this is settled, they're done.
No,
Should they,
no.
they're continuing on thing, if somebody has a problem, they bring that on, So, since it's gonna be ongoing, I don't see why we have to wait.
so
'Cause
what is
even
your
if it's,
timeline?
there's people,
do you think?
if everybody here likes these questions, we send it tomorrow.
But my problem with that is I don't know if everybody here will be on the committee. Are we saying that this is the committee, everybody in the room right now?
No.
Then how do we find
The
out?
questions are not gonna change that much who's on the committee, because the questions all boil down to the same
But
issues.
we haven't even looked at it.
I know,
so we
that's
don't
what, I know.
that. So I think it
I
has to
stopped
be
her in her
fair.
tracks before she
First,
passed me.
form the committee, second, develop the questions. And maybe you've got a great start, and maybe we can get this out in 2 days, but give everybody a chance to look at it, read it, and put in their input.
Add to, or delete.
it.
And that's why I brought them there. But I'm not, I still,
So this
Don't
is
wanna
a
wait.
starting point.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're starting with Debbie's questions. Now, I'm sorry. So let's get to you as far as what you think on that.
I don't know where this is being born out of.
Okay.
So, and that's fine, I don't need to know.
Well, this survey is being born out of some people leaving our district that, you know, are good people and then we hate to lose, and other people coming forward to certain board members or other people with concerns. So that's where it's being born out of, okay? Instead of going to administration. Now, this isn't a witch hunt against the administration. This isn't throw the administration underneath the bus. I'm not in favor of that. What I am in favor of is finding out, you know, what the troops on the front line are feeling. Are they being alienated? Is their opinions being accepted as viable situations for change? Okay, that's, as a board member, that's what I want to know, because, you know, everybody should be valued, okay? So,
Okay.
it's kind of being born out of that, from
Sure.
Ms. Stearns talking to people, Ms. Campworth, myself, emails coming in. You have a new board, okay, that, you know, for the most part, we know what's going on in the district through our administration. But I don't work here every day. I would like to know from you guys, okay? It's nice to hear from the administration, and we employ Dr. Kendall, and he's the guy, but because I don't work here every day, and I'm not gonna say I don't trust his opinion, because that would be wrong, but I wanna hear from the frontline people.
Yeah, I
And
think,
that's just my opinion as one board member.
sure.
Okay.
I don't think you'd want to make this a very long survey. I think you want it short, sweet, to the point. My only concern is that you're asking people to give you honest answers.
Mhm.
And if there are glaring items and they don't get addressed because maybe they're painful,
Yeah.
I think that might maybe knock morale a little lower. Because it'd be like, well, why do we waste our time doing this
If it's not going to be addressed, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, if something's, if there's whatever, you know, you ask this question, all of a sudden you guys are seeing like, whoa.
All I can tell you is that you're going to have to put some trust in us as well. That if we see a pattern of something not being addressed, or that we will address it with the
Yeah, and I
administration.
think that's what people, they want, I mean, we can fill surveys out to
and
the cows come home.
that's the problem though, is
Yeah.
because if people, you know, I'm gonna go bitch to Kathleen, that's not gonna help my situation.
Mhm. No, I know.
But they're not
Yeah,
willing to
but I-
do what needs to be done to fix the situation, so we're left with this.
Sure.
Right, and I think the problem is too, is that the assumption is that, well, I'm not gonna voice my concerns because nothing's gonna be done about it. Well, then you also don't give us the opportunity to
To
address
help
it.
you.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
So it's.
Yeah, and that's fair, and
And
that's
as a
what.
new board member, I would like that opportunity versus we just didn't do anything because they don't do anything
Right.
at all.
Sure.
Well, then I
That's
can't do
why we're at
anything
the
about it
Yeah,
either.
I mean, we
so-
filled out surveys before and.
But
Yeah,
as
and
far
then
as
nothing happened.
Board?
Yes.
Right,
For-
No, no.
I think it carries incredible weight if it comes from the board.
Yeah.
right.
I
And
I think
yeah.
that steps it up an incredible level right there. It's not an administrative or anything like that.
Right.
But I think you will still get naysayers. I think
Sure.
you still will get,
Yeah.
I think, I'll be honest, I think you're going to get a level of maybe some paranoids out there. That'll say
Well-
it can be done on computer, well, they can trace my computer. You know,
We're not out to trick
No.
anybody.
No, no,
There's no smoke and mirrors. There's nothing like
That's
that.
what people
Well, that's-
have that reassurance.
You guys have some kind of, I don't know, lockbox or something for elections, don't you?
Yeah, 1H small.
See, that's what I was gonna suggest.
But
Print them off. Put them in the box.
my only fear with that, Debbie, and I get that that helps with the anonymity of the person who's completing the survey, but also for us that are collecting the results. I see something like some sort of Survey Monkey tool that you can anonymize where it came from, or the person at least, and you make it so that these questions are yes/no questions, and then and then like a comment box where they can add more detail or maybe why they answer the question. Because if I have 29 questions, I want to see, well, what's my biggest concern? My biggest concern has to do with question 21, do you feel safe in your environment? And that's got the tallest tall bar of answers of no's, But if they're all coming in handwritten, then someone's got to manually enter all
They're
this
not-
stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
Like to consolidate.
Right, someone will have to collate, yeah, right, absolutely.
But I think with web surveys, I think a lot of those tools.
People don't trust them.
I think it's.
I know,
I think it's
I-
going to be the responses then, because someone's going to have to collect them.
Well,
They put them in the box when they're going to the mailroom.
The staff, the membership, the union membership, the representative of that person on this committee, I feel should be the ones that are collecting them. Because I'm a teacher, I'm going to feel more comfortable handing it over to the union president than I would be handing it over to Larry Canning, the board member, or Bill Kendall, the superintendent, okay? Because
And
then
that's
there's
why-
no hokey pokey, there's no cherry picking.
How is that
I
different
don't
than
want
putting
that
it in a
here.
box that only people
It
get?
really isn't.
Right.
And I think that's a great idea, I do.
Who has access to those boxes? Just
Us and
The rep at the
they're
school.
locked, each one has a key. For example, Sam is the elections person at Tinley Park, he has a key, they're actually locked. And we keep them usually in the IMC or somewhere that is always being watched.
Yeah. You see, Debbie, you have some visions of where this is going. I think they're really good, some really good ones. One of the visions I have, this can help us when we sit down with a Bill Kendall, and it's our job to evaluate him and to give him goals. I mean, we're going to have a ton of information to help us with our job of evaluating the superintendent. There's no doubt. Again, I'm not saying that it's a witch hunt, but I think we can get some more concrete goals established versus all that abstraction stuff, that just, I've been on 3.5 years, I still can't figure his evaluation out, okay? I'm sorry.
I think you might want to, just for
Yeah,
getting your
I know.
information, 29 would be,
Yeah, I
you
think
know, I don't think
it's-
people mind answering 29
Yeah.
questions, but whoever's,
No, I
Tabling
think,
all
and
the
that's a
information.
committee, hey, that could be a committee decision that says, hey, we're settling on 10, and we're gonna beat each other up to get to them 10, okay? And then when we come out with that 10, we're all happy with it, and we go.
But I'd see Ms. Stern's point about expedience, like getting this out sooner rather than later. I think that would be in the best interest of this committee.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, I agree.
I don't
Yeah.
think it has to be long, Debbie. I mean, where did you think that maybe it was something I said that it's gonna be months and,
Oh, I don't think
This
it's
has to
months.
be-
I just think that there is a sense of urgency amongst the staff.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
if you still,
Well, what I
2
heard-
weeks would be fast, but I don't think 2 weeks.
But what I heard is that
It would
this
be late
being
for
the
this.
board, people might take a little bit more to do it. So if the questions come from the board, but then the results, like you said, are
Right.
yeah,
committee.
yeah, the questions are definitely gonna come from the board with maybe some input
Go ahead.
from.
Kathleen's got something to say.
I do agree with Debbie in that I think the questions, like Christine was about to say, I think, is you have to start somewhere. And you don't know what this committee is going to look like until you see the answers to the questions. So how would you know who you'd want to invite?
Good point.
So I think the board needs to come up with however many questions you decide on, and then from looking at the results, form your committee and decide how you want it to look. That would be my suggestion.
I'm just real passionate about having you guys involved.
We would love to be involved.
You're on the front lines every day. You know more than we do. So you definitely have to have some input on the development of this.
So Do you want to whittle down my questions?
Right now?
Yeah.
If you say that this is the committee, then we're all on the committee. Is there?
Oh, I thought you just agreed with her, sorry.
Well, I didn't hear Kathleen say that this is the committee.
No, she didn't say.
She said that the board members start with a certain amount of questions, which you've done a good job, obviously. I haven't read them. You've gotten a
But
lot
we're
on
saying that the
paper.
personnel committee is going to finalize.
Whittle
which-
it down, and then-
Which questions you want to use in the survey.
So are you okay with that or no?
I'm okay with it.
Sending the questions out before the committee's
But I would
formed.
also want, if somebody else has something
But
that
I
we
think
don't
we
see
have to
here.
have the
we
rest of
add.
the board's input on these questions.
Only if we make it a board committee, which if we make it
board committee.
under the superintendent, it doesn't have to be voted on.
Then can we have
It
as
just
many
And that's a
starters
lot
if we
less.
want, if we do it
That's a
that
lot
way?
less time.
Huh?
If it's that kind of committee, are we, do we have to have 3? Can you have 5?
You can have 100.
Anybody that wants to be on it. Okay. So if you put this out to the rest of the board and ask them if they want to be part of this,
You
They
think
can-
that
We'll
would
see
take
if-
a lot of time?
but you put a time frame on it. If you want to be part of it, give you your input.
Then
What's your time frame?
if
2
every
days?
board member participated, we would have to make it be a board.
So we have the advantage of, this is the personnel committee, we can keep it here. Is that what you're saying, without inviting other board members? And I don't want to sound like I
But
want
I'm
to
not on the
alienate.
personnel committee and I want to be part of it.
But that doesn't stop
Well,
you.
you can,
You can go to whatever meetings you want to go to.
Okay, but
and have input.
I want to have input. I don't want to be silenced by comments from the public.
I found out, and you guys found out in your meetings.
And I
that
was
that's
told it's.
Not true.
Well, that's how
We
they work.
can, yeah.
But input, so when the teachers are meeting,
So
you
if
wanna
we
have-
have it just
meeting,
a
it's not a board
personnel
meeting.
meeting, if you do this as a personnel committee meeting, how do we involve the other staff?
That's what I'm saying, make it not be a personnel.
Okay.
We're just starting here with the
Yeah,
survey.
We're just saying
Right.
the personnel would select
And then-
questions, and
then
then
it's
the
not-
committee run with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
With the results.
Let them go.
Build a team.
but
Okay.
you're saying you
But
want to
can
be
you give
involved
us
in the decisions
24
making with
hours
their,
to go over the
with their
questions?
thing.
Right, well, I want to have some input on.
Well, I don't care. I'm just saying, from what I've heard, there's a sense of urgency.
I agree with
The
that.
fastest
Yeah.
we get them out is the better. If there's been talk about it now, if nothing shows up, they're gonna be like, oh, here's another thing, big talk, something's gonna happen and
We've
nothing
been at
good.
it for a little over a week in conversations. I know I've had an individual conversation with you. I've had individual conversations. Kim, I'm sorry I haven't had one with you. But so it's not been too long at this point.
But you have people who have been struggling, coming to work crying for almost a year. It is too long for them.
And guess what? Rome wasn't built in a day, and nobody's saying that we're going to go 6 months in. Maybe we'll go a month before it actually hits the street, or maybe we'll go 2 weeks. It depends on how fast the committee wants to work, too. I'm up for anything, and I agree. It should get out there quick.
What do you think?
I want to get it out quick too, so,
What if we can have the survey out by well, there's no school on the 12th.
Well, today's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday. There's no school Thursday
Can you give
and
us
Friday.
48 hours to give you our final selection of questions, and then, if we say, give me your top 12, and then you pick the 10 with the most responses, and then you send out the survey as board president?
See, I don't
the
see why
survey?
we can't just do that here.
Oh, okay, well, we can do it. I wasn't sure what
We have-
meeting is next, or
Yeah.
if there was another meeting.
We have 15
I'm not
minutes.
sure this is why you guys came, to be honest with you.
We have 15 minutes.
How are you going to present this to the staff then? Is this gonna be
Email.
an email from?
And then you
the
print it
school
out
board?
when you're done, yep.
Well, I'll let you know that I did talk to Kathleen, and I let her know that I know I would feel comfortable with representation from the union to be here. I think it's important for them to play a good role in this. I really
Because
do.
of the conversation with staff questionnaire? Okay.
What's
This
a fair
pertains
amount
to
of
them.
time to ask for these back? Do you all feel like you
Yeah.
have to fill this out?
What do you guys
Do you want a
think?
week?
Would you give them to us?
Yes.
2 weeks, I think, is way too long.
That's too long.
I put
Lose
the,
them, the dog will eat them, and.
I put-
that's-
just for, to put something on here, I put the 19th. Is that too long?
If you give it to us Monday, it'll be done by Friday. You know?
Give it to you on a Monday and ask for it back by Friday.
With all the,
Because then they wait.
something like that on Monday, you know, by Friday. Yeah, or maybe give a weekend.
Give a
something.
weekend.
Yeah.
Some people might have a very busy, like Monday through
Monday-
Friday.
Monday to
put
Monday.
thought
I have it,
No,
I have on here right now the 19th.
That's a Friday. Well, if we don't get it out before this weekend, that doesn't give them a weekend to spend time on it.
But if we do, it does.
Well,
They get a weekend and a week.
but we have to have it out tomorrow. There's no school on Thursday and Friday. I mean, they'll all be
Right.
here for conferences on Friday, Thursday. They have access to their email. We could possibly have it out by Thursday and ask for it back by the 19th. That gives the
Thursday
weekend.
this week? It's gotta be developed tomorrow, it's Wednesday, and then Thursday. We can develop it off of what you got here.
Yeah.
And I apologize to you, because when we were talking yesterday, I didn't know that you wanted us to come in with our stuff today, our questions. I apologize.
Oh,
I didn't.
that's all right.
I have to say, it would take a little time, because these questions are very thoughtful looking and deserve, you know,
It's some time to
good
answer
response.
them.
There's, yeah,
Because we
absolutely.
want a honest
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not looking for
response.
yes.
No.
Yeah, these
Do
are
you
different.
see any that
These
you
are-
would take off?
We want some
Off the top
substance.
right away?
Which one?
If I look at 18 and 19, you trust what the district tells you, I think it's a valid question. My question is, define district. You'd have somebody taking this, is that the central administration, is it my building administration?
Good point.
Is
That's
it
a very
a
good point.
department
Whichever.
chair? Exactly.
And oh, did I or not?
Just clarify that under question number
Yeah.
one. It
Oh,
could
it does.
be-
Oh,
it could be superintendent, could be principal.
Okay, I'm
could
sorry.
Well,
be-
let's look at the problem at hand, okay? The
Thanks.
problem at
Sorry.
hand is, people are disgruntled, okay? They're disgruntled about different things within the administration level, whether it be building or top administration. So let's just call it what it is. Do you feel the administration is responsive to your work and personnel? You know, we call it what it is. This is,
It also, that whatever area it is needs to be exposed so it can be fixed.
So
Whether
I
it be
think,
a
Debbie, what you
principal or
were
the
saying, and
superintendent.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, when you said district, I think that maybe you meant administration, correct? You're using district? as-
Right.
Okay,
But which level, yeah.
Yeah.
building level or?
Maybe all levels.
Which is true, yeah, which is true.
And I'm just saying, looking at this from a board perspective, I'm looking at those questions where the responses, we would have some sort of influence in improving or promoting change. Some of these, as far as the responses are, not that I don't want to say I don't care about any, I think, like you said, these are all thought-provoking questions, but I'm trying to think of those where we can make the most influence on the most change, as a board. Like, would you refer a friend to work in District 228? Well, if they say no, okay, thank you, next question. But so I'm just trying to highlight
Okay, so we
those.
can get rid of that one.
Well, I'm not afraid of yes or no questions.
Right, but I'm
want-
just saying, I'm looking for those questions where, again, the responses from the questions are, the higher priority questions, I guess is what I'm saying. These are all really important
You're
questions,
absolutely right.
but I'm looking for those higher priority questions where it needs board attention if they say no to this question.
No, yeah, safety, do you have a say, things like, absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, do you guys just want to start at one, Debbie? Let's start at one and see, we'll go around the room and get people's. Okay, are you aware of the district vision and goal? Do you guys see or hear from membership about that?
Come on.
And, district vision and goals, my question would be, where are we in 5 years? And what are we working towards? I don't know.
So you don't have a visionary image in your head of what we're gonna look like in 5 years?
No. There'll
And
be
that has not
iPads.
been spelled out from the administration?
It'll have iPads.
Okay.
Yeah, And I think one is a good question. We definitely need to make sure that everyone,
I agree.
faculty and
All
staff
right,
are
so I'm
aware of
circling
issues.
one. Everybody circling one?
Yeah.
Everybody good with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We can probably get away from 2 because no one will answer that for
Yeah,
us.
I don't think so either. I didn't have 2 circled.
And 3.
Well,
And
what
I
about,
think-
what about
and I
if you
think-
feel comfortable talking to administration about any of your concerns?
That's in here somewhere.
Yeah, and I
You do
think-
have, all right, I haven't gotten that far.
We'll write it on the side, so in case it's not, we don't force it to bust.
Well, you got number 4.
Do you feel?
Well, and I think even 4 can almost be kind of covered under with trust and responsiveness to concerns. Because I do see variations of questions that almost can be lumped together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Somehow we need to turn that into maybe one question with 2-part or something.
So again, let's not jump ahead. So we're down to 4 here, right? We X'd out 2 and 3,
Yes.
Yes.
and you guys are more than welcome to join in and say, your opinion on it, okay? So 4 is a stay, right? Do you feel upper administration spends time talking to staff about concerns and issues? I think that's a great one.
Would that
So,
be
but-
district or?
That would be.
Anybody.
But look at 4 and then look at 19. Is that, I mean, again, I think this is like an area where we can kind of, it's the communication between the administration
Mhm.
and staff. So it almost seems like they can almost be lumped together if you're going to ask that question.
That's a little different there, Christine, just a little bit there. Do you feel the district is responsive to your work and personal concerns? And then do you feel upper administration spends time talking to staff? I think that's different.
I think 19 and 9 could pair up pretty well if you look at question
Yeah.
9.
Okay.
Administration
There
here,
you go. That's better.
I think, it's more.
I agree. I agree.
I still
yeah.
think we need to have something about them having a comfort level coming to administration. I know what you said, you feel they talk to you, but that's to me taking, does administration talk to you? Do you in turn feel comfortable just coming on your own, talking to administration? Would that be a question that you
And
think
how,
would?
but how do you divert those that just have personal comforts with talking to people?
Well, Sam is, here, you're gonna act as Bill Kendall right now. And I'm gonna act as Joe Smith, the math teacher, okay?
Okay.
And I'm sitting with you, Dr. Kendall, and you're a good listener, you're nodding your head and okay, does anything come of it? Okay? Does anything come of me as a math teacher, Dr. Kendall, and again, he doesn't do that, I'm just using it as an example, okay?
Right.
I think there could be some anxiety that, geez, I talked to this guy, and here we are 4 months later, and the issue is still happening.
Right, but then the question 4 needs to say, if you've had a concern,
Okay?
if you,
Yeah.
do you feel it was that they
Dealt
addressed
with
you
properly.
and they were
Addressed
responsive?
it.
But this is just, again, do you feel upper
Addressed
administration times?
appropriately.
If I were a teacher, I'd be like, I don't know, I have never gone to
Yeah.
them, but I think it should just be addressed that if we've had a concern, or if I, as a teacher, a staff, or faculty member, if I've had a concern, do I feel I was able to talk to somebody, and if I did, were they responsive?
Okay, so do you feel administration cares about you as a person and your concerns?
That's what I'm saying,
And your concerns?
that's what I'm saying, there's several of these questions, you can almost lump them up into
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
question.
Okay, so I'm gonna put concerns at the end of that.
For 9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm gonna circle 9. Is everybody in agreement? We're circling 9 and keep. Yay, nay?
Yeah.
Hey, okay. But let's go, we scooted all the way down from 5, okay? Let's take a look at that.
What if we added, are you comfortable bringing issues?
Okay, we have,
Yeah, I really kind of want that.
have you had a conversation?
To administration. And I put that on there because I had a couple people tell me they know Bill Kendall by sight, but
Well,
they
wait a
don't know.
minute. In defense of administration here, okay, have you had conversations with anyone from the administration center? That could be on them as well. If they have concerns and they're not coming in.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And then we add on there, are you comfortable
coming in 'cause
bringing
that's not-
issues
That's why I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's
that's
the
my
problem.
question.
Are you comfortable bringing issues to
Yeah.
administration?
That's why I'm saying, like, in the question, I had a concern, I brought it to their attention.
Yeah.
Not, I had a concern, but I didn't talk to
Right.
anybody, so
Yes.
it's definitely gotta be lumped together.
If I may add, I think it's also a fear of talking to a big boss. You know,
Sure.
if I'm in
That
the
personal
trenches, if
anxiety.
I'm a 5
Well,
or
I don't
6
wanna
year
talk to
teacher,
mine.
I'm
That's
not,
scary.
you know what, I'm gonna sit here
But
and.
you don't want to penalize the administration or upper staff
Absolutely.
because someone has a personal anxiety like that either. So
Oh,
if
no,
I
no.
see a no on
Right.
here, I don't want to automatically think that's bad.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
So can you fit in somewhere if you brought a concern or issue
Yeah.
to upper administration?
Yeah.
Do you
it
feel
was
that it was
addressed
dealt with
to your
appropriately?
satisfaction or something?
That's a
Yeah,
big
or
issue.
who are you comfortable, what level are you
Right.
comfortable speaking to?
Well, let's write that down. You got that?
Yep.
We're gonna change that? Okay, so it's gonna read as what?
I know people think it goes on my fingers.
Have you had a conversation with anyone from the Ad Center? What are your feelings about it? Are you comfortable bringing issues to the administration? If you brought a concern, was it addressed, I don't know, to your liking or something? I'll come up with something.
Just, was it addressed?
Was it addressed to your satisfaction?
Okay, yeah, that's good, huh? You guys like that? I'd love to hear the results on that.
So I know that's a big bitch internally that things go on deaf ears and it's like, well, I'm not even gonna bring it up anymore.
Well, that's what we're gonna stop, Sam. That's what we're trying to.
Not to nitpick, but from at the administration center, you're talking about administrators, not the employees of the administration center, right?
Anybody?
Anybody at the administration, okay.
Yeah.
Well, not Lori DeVos.
Sure.
Well, because I talked to her more than I talked to anybody. You know, I mean, that's,
Well, Lori DeVos is probably gonna be a good ear for you, but can Lori DeVos get the concerns straightened out that you have?
Right.
I would say no. See what I'm saying?
That's right.
All right, so what number are we on now?
7.
We
Or
already
6.
skipped up
Six.
yeah.
So,
Do you feel communication from an administration is open and honest? What makes you feel this way? I think that's a good one.
Wasn't there another honesty question? Do you trust what the teacher tells you?
which number?
18?
That could
Yep,
be
we can
very
get rid of
broad.
that.
Tells you what I think we need to narrow that down a little
Mhm.
bit more.
What?
18?
18 we can
Well,
get rid
here,
of.
We're,
I think.
We're still up at,
Yeah, we can
Six.
somehow work that into one of
Mhm.
these other ones here.
okay.
It's almost like 6.
Yeah, I think we can get rid of it.
But I like it.
Mhm. So we're on 7, guys?
So 6 and 18 we can combine.
6 and
6 and
18
18
combined? Is
combined,
that what
yeah.
we're talking? You guys, how you feel
Okay.
about 6 and 18? Combining that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you
that's
can
fine.
wordsmith it so it
Yeah.
covers both of those
Yeah.
Right.
questions.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna go 6
Exactly.
and 18 is a combined. I take it you have this on your computer, you're gonna make these changes? Okay, good. All right, so, 7? Does administration encourage your involvement in solving a problem or improving the situation?
This one I probably would want more information on or understand it better because do they really, should they be getting faculty and staff involved in solving a situation, an administration situation, like?
Well, let's go back to the mentoring
like say a
situation
department
here.
supervisor or assistant superintendent of curriculum or
Right, you're talking superintendents and department heads, but if I'm a teacher and I'm not a department head and I'm answering this survey,
right. So how come my math supervisor didn't involve me in a problem?
so when you're saying administration, that includes department heads?
Anybody.
also? Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was just people in this
Anybody
office.
who we consider an administrator.
But do they see it when, and again, do they see that as what you mean here in this?
Well, if they read my, yeah, I could put another little blurb in there.
Wait, you need to
Anybody.
clarify on top. Yeah.
Anybody.
No, I see that, but I see it from like a big level where, you know, a
Right.
building administration wouldn't be needed, but from a department chair standpoint, you know, if you have a department, there's issues and concerns, and you're never being talked to
Right.
at all.
Right,
Yeah,
and so
I
I don't
see
know if
that.
you're, maybe, and I don't mean to spell things out, but do you, as a teacher, do you feel your department head keeps you involved? As a department head, do you feel your superintendent keeps you? I don't know how that,
But then the department head will have those same complaints about maybe Corey, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, absolutely.
I'll just put a little blurb in there about
Well,
what administration is anybody
You know, but at the same time too, I'm not expecting the superintendent to reach out to this teacher to ask for.
Right,
and
right.
Sometimes those issues just don't involve,
Right.
yeah, that level.
Yeah.
So are we changing language in 7? I think 7 is beautiful. I really do.
Leave it.
Are we changing anything in there? So are we circling it as a yes?
Just clarifying what level of administration. Just put your blurb in there, department supervisor, assistant superintendent, superintendent, whatever.
Well, I'll put at the top of it, what administration can mean anybody who's an administrator.
Well, top, middle. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so number 8, does administration encourage your career development?
Yeah.
I think that one, yeah.
Making, what, leave it? Cut it?
No, I'd say, I think.
All right,
Not,
it's an
not
A.
important enough.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
with
okay.
safety and those other things.
We've already cut our change 9.
All right, 9, yeah, we already talked about we're keeping 9.
Just adding something about concerns in
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Okay, do you feel administration does its best to make District 228 a good place to work? What does a good place to work mean?
And there's.
Are you happy to come
Number
to work?
22, do you
Yeah,
feel?
22's, yeah.
Yeah, so that's,
Okay, so combine.
I kind of almost think it links with 23 as well, too. 'Cause I
10,
Yeah.
23.
Like, if you could make the same amount of money that you could jet right now,
sure.
would you
I think
go,
so.
you know?
That's 23.
I
So
think
so that's going to be combined?
10, 22, and 23,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd-
Almost
Into
combined
one.
into one.
Okay, all right. So
Huh?
Oh,
yeah.
10,
So 10 and
22,
23 are
and
combined.
23. You got that, Debbie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 22, 23. Okay. Number 11. Does administration remove obstacles so that you can do your job better? What's obstacles?
Yeah, should we maybe rephrase, we're assuming that everyone's got an obstacle, maybe ask, do they feel, is there an obstacle?
If you had an obstacle, do you feel the
Oh, no,
administration?
there are obstacles.
Yes, all right.
There are, so we should be on the assumption that there's an obstacle for everyone?
So, hey, Sam, what's an obstacle? Can you give me an example? Because I don't work your job every day, I need to know, give me a typical obstacle. And I don't want to put you in the spot.
No,
But I'm going,
It's all the baloney you gotta go through on your evaluation. You take more time doing that than you do teaching.
so an evaluation as it stands now could be that obstacle.
That's a good way to put it.
We could combine 20 with 10, with 11, right?
20?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, perfect,
Oh, yeah.
perfect.
No, and that could be anything from evaluation, class size,
So
anything
11,
discipline, anything like that.
so 11 and 20,
Question of resources. I mean,
right?
Resources,
Yeah,
good
any-
obstacles.
Any of those things are a problem. Yeah.
Books from this century.
Huge.
Yes.
No books.
Do you hear that, resources, Debbie? So wait a minute, let me get what you, 11 and 20 is going
Provide
together?
resources.
Is there something here that says to get the appropriate resources to do our jobs efficiently?
Not specifically, that's why I threw it out there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so-
That's huge.
Okay. You guys ready to move on? You want to go to 12? When communicating, you guys okay?
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Okay. So when communicating with administration, does administration respond to you in a timely manner? I think that's important to have on there. If people aren't getting back to you, how the heck can you do your job?
Or do we combine that with
Expectation to
number?
get back to parents in 48 hours.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you're saying there should be an expectation on the administration's part to get back to you in a timely manner, because we're asking for you to do that, so.
I mean, that's
I think
just-
that goes to our responsive question, though. That we were, like, do you feel like they're responsive, or isn't there another question?
Well, what about with number 4? And
Yeah, we
are
could
your
add that on there.
concerns,
Do
you
they
know,
respond in a timely manner?
And that's,
Other
yeah.
time.
we put
Yeah,
respond
and
time,
there
yeah.
you go, 19 also.
Yeah, 12. Okay.
Well, 19, I thought you,
Yeah, we're gonna
19
put
we were putting
19,
with
9,
something
and
else.
12 together.
19.
Okay, hold on, 19 and 12 are going together?
And, yeah, 9.
19.
And 9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
right, so we're on 13.
And
correct?
13 and 17 can go together.
You have an opportunity to offer input or influence decisions that directly affect your job. Is this encouraged? You have offered input.
I'm sorry, what, 13 and what
were
depth?
the results?
17.
What do you guys think of 13?
I like 13, but you're
Yes.
saying you can combine it with 17, are there changes? Yeah,
We got a good yes on 13.
13 and 17.
Okay. What'd you say, 17 with 13?
Those are slightly different questions.
Let's see.
13 is asking, have you ever offered input and is your input encouraged? 17 is asking, okay, now I'm asking, what's your input? So
Okay.
if the question
Good point,
is
good point.
input encouraged, that's a different question. But that sort of goes along with the responsive and.
I agree, because now I've read that further here, are you hesitant to voice your opinion? And I'm hearing that all the time. So I think that should stay in the loan.
17?
Yeah. What do you guys think? Staying alone on 17? Madam President?
I don't care.
Okay. 14. Are you informed when decisions that affect your job are made? Or are you just supposed to be a mind reader?
That's a good one.
Is it? All right, so any overlap on any other ones, do you see?
We could put that into 13, I guess.
2, are you informed? No.
With decisions that are directly affecting your job.
I was thinking this
Input or-
separate question.
Separate?
Separate.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting a feeling.
Yeah,
that-
we're not gonna get a good, there's a lot of questions in one thing, and the answer is going to be
Yeah.
far too vague, maybe. We're going to go in detail.
Okay, so 15. So we're keeping 14. 15, you feel you are treated with dignity and respect. And by whom?
I like the question. I just feel the by whom, are they going to call them
Yeah,
out?
that was my question too, Deb. I was going to ask you by whom.
Because if this is not supposed to be a witch hunt,
No, it's not.
I think if we put the by whom, it then turns
It's
into
a
witch.
change hunt. We got to make a change.
Well, are we asking are we asking for a name, or are we asking for colleague, or supervisor?
This is how I
or-
see it. I don't want the board to ask by whom, because remember, the board is not trying to do a witch hunt, but if they decide that they want to provide additional detail in their comments, that's on them.
On the person doing
Yes, filling it out.
And I was going to suggest that we put that as directions at the top, okay? To, if they need extra space, feel free or to explain their opinion thoroughly, okay? Because we
Or
don't want
if they want to elaborate on their response.
three-letter
there you go.
response, or
Read-
three-word response.
You have to read the blurb, the instructions.
Okay.
There it is.
Oh, you mean.
All right.
15.
Yeah, I would say.
We kind of already got 16 with the others. Responsiveness, do you think we can get rid of 16?
Yeah.
And we're
So then we're
keeping
at-
15. By whom is the question?
Correct.
So we're on
Taking them
21.
tomorrow.
So we're keeping 15. Okay.
21, I think, is good.
You feel your fireman is safe.
I'm hoping it comes back.
25, keep her,
So wait, 21 we're keeping.
Are we want why or why not? What if the answer is no?
still why?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, if they
Yeah,
say
all
no,
right, right.
So we did 22, we did 23, we're on 24, right?
24 we crossed off.
Right.
We did?
Would you refer a friend to work?
Oh, okay, we did. Yeah, I did remember that.
Yeah. 18, 19.
Are you willing to work to help the district succeed?
I think
I
they
think
are
they
by
are
completing the
working.
survey.
Yeah.
Technically, you're automatically doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're scratching?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you proud of working 228? I think that needs to stay. If not, why? How about if not, why?
Yeah.
Or if yes, why too?
Yeah, I think.
Well, yeah,
Why?
what makes it good? Let's
Explain.
bring out
How
some
about
positives
explain?
if possible.
Explain, okay. So we're gonna put explain. Okay.
Yeah, at least one example.
Okay, do you feel a strong sense of belonging to the district? Are you proud to work for, so I think those are redundant
Yeah.
maybe a little
Yeah.
bit. So scratch that, guys, 27?
27.
Okay. What do you like about 228? That's relevant, I think.
Would that be in your pride statement? Like, you know, you're proud
Yeah,
of
I
it,
think
you
those
know,
others
it.
explain, yeah, I know, explain.
Explain.
There's always positives, and
Yeah,
there's
sure.
plenty of positives.
Okay, so we're gonna put explain at the end of that, and we're gonna keep it. What would you like to change about District 228?
I think this is where we'll get the papers.
That's good,
Yeah.
that's good.
Didn't we have a question that was basically, what changes would you suggest?
I didn't see it.
Oh, man, I-
17
Depart,
asks about changes, but
Yeah, so we asked the question.
What would
one
you
more time.
like to see changed about District 228?
I guess that's
Well, be more specific to your department, but maybe if someone's got an opinion
No, it
as
says,
a
or the
whole.
district.
Oh, it does say that,
or the
yeah.
district, but you were hesitant to voice your opinion, so I do think it is, it may have some redundancy, because you're saying, I wanted this change, but I wasn't able to say it, you know?
yeah, that I think more as to what stopped you from saying something.
And if that's the approach, I think that needs to be clarified, because I wouldn't have known that was the answer you were looking for, is what caused the hesitation in promoting your change to the district or to the department?
so then those are separate questions, then 17 and 29.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna keep 29 as a separate question. Debbie, I gotta tell you,
And then the
they're not
resources
bad.
question.
They're not bad. They're good.
Oh, yeah, that's,
What?
something about teacher resources.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What
Did a good job.
do you have the appropriate resources to effectively do your job?
Good, okay.
It's kind of like when I asked if the principals had the proper tools to effectively do their job.
So, what is the place where are we telling them to give it to? What is that called?
Kathleen,
Where would you like to?
Whatever this box.
box.
we want you to collect them and we want you guys to encourage everybody to do it. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing right now, I've heard a rumor that there's doubt on one end that these won't even get filled out.
So
Ballot box?
who's gonna go to the ballot box and consolidate the results?
The committee.
Okay, so they're gonna stay locked in this box until.
Well, see, that's-
So I
I don't
thought
know.
the results, we were gonna review the results and then base the committee off of the results.
Or I could
There's gotta
make
be a
them
board
into
member,
one
and I would
person
say-
where, like, we take all the number ones and put them all together. All the number twos, put them all together.
Okay.
And then the committee has something more, rather than going,
So
Do
I've
you-
got one election person at each school. They can, at the end of the, whatever time frame you give, they will collect them all, put them into like sealed envelope, whatever you want, and you tell us where you would like them. And I can have them wherever.
well, I can get them if no one has
I
problems.
like the
What
lockbox.
day
but
are
Right.
we picking the getting?
But then what?
Did we say the 19th?
2 people should get them. 2 people should get them. I'm trying to eliminate
Yes.
anybody's.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so what, we make a copy of them?
2 people will
What,
come
2 people retrieve them out of the box.
from the
That's what
committee,
you're
2
saying.
people will
Yes.
retrieve them, yes. And is that going to be the day or night that we sit down and start going through them? The day we retrieve them?
See, and that's what, I don't know. I think it'd be better to have all the information then, all the number 1 questions, you put them all together. So you can go over and say, oh, number 1, we got this, we got you full of shit.
Well, we
got-
can do that. I'm
Rather
just
than
asking
having a
when.
page through all these papers.
When do we do that? That's all I'm.
After they're picked up.
Okay, so we have to make sure, so pickup day is also committee meeting day to go through.
No, it can't be if you're gonna have all the answers put together.
But who's
You need
putting
at
the
least a
Who's put it
day.
together? We gotta have 2 because there'll be suspicion that, oh, it was rigged. I wanna take
Okay,
that out.
Kathleen, you wanna come over to my house while I put these in together?
No, I think that we should meet at
No, I
a
think
school
we should do
location,
it
and
here
anybody
or
that
at
wants
the
to be
school,
there,
yeah.
but we at least have to have 2. A school or ad center location, but we at least have to have 2 doing it. Because if there's one
How-
person, then it's gonna get out there, maybe to the membership that, oh, it wasn't fair, it wasn't, this needs to be fair.
Just thinking
Well,
how two are
nobody's
gonna do
winning
it.
anything here, so it's just kind of like we're just, when you say.
Putting the information
fair,
together.
Fair meaning that I don't
Like, I
want
read
somebody to
this
say,
myself.
oh, the administration got a hold of them first, and, you know, that kind of thing. I just don't want that. Why have that out there if we can avoid it? We got plenty of people for a committee.
I know, but you're advocating having the committee meet when it'll be a waste of time because their information's gonna be all over the place. It's not in a concise tool that you can use.
No, I agree with what you're saying. We're gonna tally them, but it just needs to be more than, Debbie, you sitting having coffee at your kitchen table. And I'm no
That's what I said.
disrespect.
No.
Disrespect. I'm just saying, so nobody could say, well, Debbie, you did this or you did that. Don't leave yourself
That's
open
fine.
for that.
I would meet you and go through them.
I would too.
And
All right.
tabulate them, yes.
Well, still, we need to copy in
We
the
need-
mix,
yes.
so.
And we need to pick
it's
up a
not-
place.
All right. So we'll decide on that later.
Okay.
And then also have, if anybody wants to be on this committee, they'll also indicate by the 19th so that the committee can meet with expectations of meeting the following week.
Okay. Now, as far as, I'm gonna ask you guys, because I just don't know. How do you feel about, obviously, we're not doing names, okay? No names, okay? What about departments? Where are you guys at with putting something like that?
Just your school.
Because departments still, if there's a complaint, that if I put on paper, maybe somebody overheard me saying it, that can still be tied to me.
Okay.
As far as, I think maybe later on, when the committee starts working, departments can come up.
Okay.
Schools.
I think school.
And here's why I originally thought departments, because maybe you can see a pattern of something. You know what I mean? Well, we got a pattern here in the English department that, you know, we got, 10 people saying the same thing. Then we know, boom, we have to address something in there because.
Well, why don't we leave the department optional? If you feel comfortable putting your department down, fine. If you don't, then don't. What
How
if
many
you
people
think
Well,
about-
I'm not so stern on it. No. That we have to have that. I'll go with the consensus of what everybody feels.
I think,
Can't we leave it optional?
yeah, I think just leave it optional, and I even think leave it optional if they want to be contacted. It's an option. They can leave it blank, don't have to, but.
Some people may
but
feel like they
but
don't
they
care
may-
if their name
yeah,
is
they
on
may be like,
something, but
"Oh."
majority are probably not.
I don't care if my name's on it.
How many people should be on this committee?
I don't think you can decide that until you know what you need to do.
We have to see what we're looking at, I think.
See how
I
serious
think
the
you guys
severity of
decide how you're gonna
circumstances.
tabulate all your
Or at
information.
least one person from each school.
Oh,
You need
I think at least
school
two people.
Yeah, one, I would say.
That's a good idea.
Somebody from each school to
Two from each
represent.
school, I would say. Once again, two.
How about the
Or
building
two.
reps? Your building reps, see if they'd be willing to be on it. Because then that's a good way of getting the communication out,
Support staff is, yeah.
Yeah, this is going to the support staff as well, right?
Best. Now we'll see who wants to be on it too.
How are you gonna put that out there?
What?
Asking people to be on it?
It's on the instructions to the
I
survey.
never read it.
Three-page
I
one.
haven't read it.
Yes, I'm sorry, was there a timeline for completing this?
Completing what?
30 minutes.
Survey.
At lunch break.
19. The
As much as I
19.
talk, it's wow.
The 19.
I would suggest you tell them, take it home, relax on the weekend, their favorite beverage, whether it's a Coca-Cola or whatever, sit down, get away from the kids, the family, and fill it out.
So the two people you mentioned, are you talking about tallying? Do you want two people present to retrieve everything out of the box?
I think whatever we do with the surveys, at least 2 people.
Would you like to be someone, would you like to have someone present? Do you want to trust my elections people? Because they always have to have a second person always there when they're looking at the ballots and taking them out. Are you comfortable with that, or would you like to be there? Let us know what you
I
think.
think a board rep should be there. I do, since this is a joint thing here, What do you think, Debbie?
That's fine.
Okay. Because we don't want you guys stuffing the ballot box neither.
No.
So then I will email the elections people from each school to you, school email.
That's fine.
And then you guys can decide who's gonna be at each school, and it would be, I don't know, 5 minutes after the bell rings for you guys to.
So each school has this type of
So
a
what are
box?
we
or
talking
something?
on Friday the
We
19th?
got 4 board members here, I mean,
Friday
Okay,
the 19th.
that's fine.
I don't want to volunteer you to do anything.
I'm fine with it.
All right.
Super duper.
I am, but I just don't hear a couple of this.
I can't hear you.
Because we all those things.
You got a couple other things? Go ahead.
So we're done with
Where's
the
mine?
survey?
Did you take my agenda? What did I do with it? Yes.
Just a couple other things. We have a counseling opening at Oak Forest. Currently, there are 180 applicants, 11 internal. I talked to Mr. Sikora today. They're going to screen about 40 and have 6 actually come to a bigger interview group. We have 109 applicants for our assistant principal job at Oak Forest. 6 of those are internal candidates. We are actually going to be having psychologist interns next school year in a couple of our buildings that will be paid for through grant funds. And then the last thing is we actually had a substitute teacher who had a work comp claim that was settled. And so you guys are going to be seeing a bill for a substitute teacher in and around about $48,000.
When did the accident happen?
It was last school year.
Last school year?
How many did you say they were going to interview for the counselor?
They're going to
180?
Screen 40.
40, and then bring 6 to a team. Okay?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Did you ask any of our guests if they had anything?
You got anything else here?
Anything? Please, bring it up now.
Thank you.
Now for about please.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks.
Just like I said before, if you ask people to take the time to fill it out, they're gonna, want to hear something of your, how you guys interpret it.
Absolutely, yep. Thanks, guys.